Here was a horse who was so broken he was supposed to be put to sleep. In fact, here was a whole team of people, the jockey, owner, the trainer, who were damaged in one way or another. Yet, through their dogged determination and against all odds, they transformed themselves into winners. A down and out nation saw this horse and rider as a symbol of what could be accomplished through grit and spirit. Equally moving in parallel story about Sebastian author Laura Hallenburt felt in her college years by severe recurrent chronic fatigue that never went away. She was often unable to function, yet something in the story of the horse who could grab and inspire her so that she was able to ride a heartfelt, magnificent story about the Trump of will. The book was a testament of Sebastian Trump and her own equally. Seen through the lens of the growth mindset, these are stories about the transformative power of efforts to change your ability and to change you as a person. But filtered through the fixed mindset, it is a great story about three men and a horse, all with deficiencies and who had to try very hard. High efforts, big risk. From the point of a view of a fixed mindset, effort is only for people with deficiencies, and when people already know they are deficient, maybe they have nothing to lose by trying. But if your claim to fame is not having any deficiency, if you are considered a genius or talent or natural, then you have a lot to lose. Effort can reduce you. Not just Salerno, Sonnenberg made her violin debut at the age of 10 with the Philadelphia Orchestra, yet when she arrived at Juilliard to study with Dorothy DeLay, the great violin teacher, she had a repertoire of awful habit. Her fingering and bowing were awkward, and she held her violin in the wrong position. But she refused to change, and several years she was the other students catching up and even surprising her. And by her late teens, she had a crisis of confidence. I was used to success to the prodigy label in newspaper, and now I felt like a failure. This prodigy was afraid of trying everything I was going through boiled down to fear of trying and failing. If you go to the audition and don't really try, if you are not if you are not really prepared, if you didn't work as hard as you could have and you don't win, you have an excuse. Nothing is harder than saying I give it my all and it wasn't good enough. The idea of trying and still falling, of leaving yourself without excuses, is the worst fear within the fixed mindset, and it haunted and paralyzed her. She had even stopped bringing her violin to her lesson. Then one day, after years of patience and understanding, Delay told her, listen, if you don't bring your violin next week, I am throwing you out of the class. Eleanor Sonnenberg thought she was joking, but Delay rose from the couch and calmly informed her, I am not kidding. If you are going to waste your talent, I don't want to be a part of it. This has gone on long enough. was why is effort is so terrifying. There are two reasons. One is that is the fixed mindset. Great geniuses are not supposed to need it, so just needing it cast a shadow on your ability. The second is that a nut just suggests it robs you of all your excuses without efforts. You can always say, I could have been filled in the blank, but once you try, you can't say that anymore. Someone once said to me, I could have been Yo Yo Ma if she had really tried for it. She wouldn't have been able to say that. Solana Sonnenberg was terrified of losing delay. She finally decided that trying and falling in honest failure was better than the course she had been on, and so she begins trying with delay for an upcoming competition. For the first time, she went all out and by the way won. Now she says, this is something I know for a fact. You have to work hardest for the things you have most, you love most, and when it music you love, you are in the fight of your life. Fear of efforts can happen in relationship too, as it did with Amanda, a dynamic and attractive young woman. I had a lot of crazy boyfriends, a lot. They range from unreliable of inconsiderate. How about a nice guy for once? My best friend Carla always said it was like you deserve better. So then Carla fixed me up with Rob, a guy from her office. He was great and not just on day one. I love it. It was like, oh my God, a guy who actually show up on time. Then it becomes serious and I freak. I mean, this guy really liked me. But I couldn't stop thinking about how if he really knew me and he might get thrown off? I mean, when if I really tried and it didn't work, I guess I couldn't take that risk. Low effort, the big risk. In a growth mindset, it almost inconceivable you want something badly to think you have a chance to achieve it and then do nothing about it. And when it happens, the I could have been is heartbreaking, not comforting. There were few Americans women in the 1930 to through 1950 who were more successful than Claire Booty Luce. She was a famous author and playwright. She was elected to Conference Toys and she was ambassador to Italy. I don't really understand the word success, she had said. I know people use it about me, but I don't understand life. Her public life and private tragedies kept her from getting back to her greatest love and writing for the traitor. She had great success with plays like The Woman, but it just wouldn't do for a political figure to keep penning thought sexy comedies. For her, politics did not provide the personal creative effort she valued most, and looking back, she couldn't forgive herself for not pursuing her passion for theater. I often thought she said, if if I were to write an autography, but my title would be Autography of a Failure. Billie Jean King say it's all about what you want to look back and say, I agree with her. You can look back and say, I could have been polishing your unused endowment like trophy, or you can look back and say, I gave my all for the things I value. Think about what you want to look back and say, then choose your mindset, turning knowledge into action. Some people with the fixed mindset have read the books that say success is about being your best self, not about being better than others. Failure is an opportunity, not an condemnation. Effort is the key to success, but they can't put this into practice because their basic mindset, their belief in fixed rates, is telling them something entirely different.